Tell, Cockerel. He's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. Leave your troubles at the door. You know the game, you know the score. We're here to have fun, so holster that gun and read the writing on the wall. The predictions leak, done every week. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tell, Cockerel. He's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. Jose gets himself around. Always talking Spurs, wherever he is found, home or away. He always tips to win, throws the form book in the bin with a cheeky knowing grin. Tell, Cockerel. He's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. The predictions league, done every week. It just goes on and on and on and on. Why do I always get it wrong? Every time I play along. Tell, Cockerel. The show is so chilled, your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. Tell, Cockerel. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tell, Cockerel. The show is so chill, your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. Tell, Cockerel.
Jose, you're on mute, Jose. Jose, you can hear me, you're on mute. Are you still there, Jose? Have you frozen? Or am I the frozen one? Okay, assuming Jose is the one that's frozen, I'm going to take over until he gets back. Having said that, greetings and salutations, everybody. Shang here from Southeast Asia, doing the first episode of Jose and Shang in this new month of November 2025. It is 7 p.m. Here in Southeast Asia. I gather it's 11 a.m. in the morning right now over there in Britain. Today is a Sunday, and it's been quite an eventful last 7 days, beginning with the away game against Everton at the new ground, Everton's new stadium. That's rather surprisingly went as well as we could have expected. 3 points from 3 goals and a clean sheet to boot. And having said that, Jose is back. Let's see if we can hear him now. Can you hear me, Jose?
Yeah, sorry, I was talking.
Okay, it's fine.
And it all went.
It's okay.
It's like everything. It's all gone. I was saying good morning to everyone. Welcome in to the Jose and Chang, our usual Sunday show. Chang, good evening. How are you?
I'm doing very well, Jose. Given that I took the liberty of skipping over every single game that started after midnight here in Southeast Asia for the past 5 days, I think, since the midweek League Cup game against the Toffees at Tyneside. Unfortunately, I had to give that a miss because I think it kicked off something like 3:30 a.m., which is a bit too late for me. And that also, that also came into effect yesterday morning, or rather this early morning, for the home game against Chelsea. That was also 1:30 a.m. on a Sunday morning. So unfortunately, I didn't watch that. But otherwise, yeah, I'm still buzzing. I'm absolutely buzzing from our last away league win last weekend against Everton. As I mentioned earlier, before you jump back onto the stream, 3 goals, 3 points, and a away sheet, and a away clean sheet, and we are still doing pretty well in the league despite this early morning's rather dismal and disappointing home defeat to Chelsea, which, if I understand correctly, from what I've been reading in the chat, it came down to our own mistake. We somehow got caught in possession trying to play at the back, and they robbed us of it, and they scored the only goal from that. And the only thing I also managed to gather from the chats this morning was that we somehow accumulated the lowest XG score since XG was recorded. So I'm so very glad I gave this early morning's game a miss, and the same can be said as well for the midweek game. But without saying too much, I'm sure we have lots to get into, lots to discuss before our next league game against United at home next weekend. Having said that, as always, back to you, Senor Garcia.
We normally start these shows and we talk about the previous week. So we would be talking about Everton, we'd be talking about Newcastle, and then we would go on to last night's game. For me, I can't. I've forgotten all about Everton. Newcastle, I've forgotten about. I was disappointed with Newcastle because I thought that was a chance, that was an opportunity. Newcastle had changed their lineup for the cup game, and I thought it was an opportunity for us. I know we changed our lineup, but you would have thought that we changed our lineup to accommodate the fact that that we did have a game at the weekend, but that we did want to progress in the cup. But Chad, I can't go back on a week. People say that fans are reactionary, right? But you can only talk about the here and now. You're only as good as your last game. There's all these cliches that you can add. I'm going to be brutally honest, right? I went to the game yesterday. I paid over a three-figure sum for my ticket. Then you got to include the travel all the way up there. Then you got to include getting something to eat and drink and whatever while you're there because I live so far away. And then my journey home, and I got home, I think I ended up getting home about 1 a.m. And I met my daughter flukily. I met my daughter on the way back home on a train, because she'd been working at Ascot yesterday, the horse racing, and I just managed to meet her on the train, and that was my bright spark of the day. And my daughter said to me, "I hear you lost." And I said, "Yeah." I said, and I just said to you, it was just a really awful performance. And that's it. We didn't talk any more football after that, which was a blessing. We talked about her day, her work. I ended up going with her and diverting my travel home, and ended up going with her to her university, and then getting her stuff ready and bringing her back home last night, because she was coming home today anyway. But we're bringing her home last night, and it was that was the only bright spark, and that brought a smile to my face, spending time with my daughter yesterday. because, to be honest, that game yesterday, I'm lost for words. I mean, if I did shorts from the ground. I don't know if people have seen them. I know Shemtam's seen it because Shemtam commented on it. I did shorts from the ground, and at the start of the game, Chang, or before the game started, and I'm going to say just before the game started, yeah, there was it was bouncing. The ground was bouncing. There was plenty of singing. There was plenty of chanting. You know, there was lots and lots going on, and I thought to myself, "Wow, have things changed?" Because to me, I go to it and I call it the coffin bowl, is what I call it, because the atmosphere is so bad. Now I don't know because I don't know. I haven't been to any away games. I haven't been to any other grounds this season, so I don't know whether the problem is just at Tottenham, it's our stadium, it's our fans, or whether this is a wider issue throughout grounds. Chelsea, I could hear singing again before the game started, during the game, before they scored their goal, after they scored their goal. You could hear Chelsea singing. Tottenham, nah, you couldn't hear nothing at all. But before the game, I had a really good feeling because the crowd were up for it and stuff like that. Now, to me, if the crowd aren't up for it, right, then they ain't pushing the players on. But if the players aren't putting a shift in, then they're not pushing the crowd on. So it's like dog eats dog. I went to the game yesterday and I witnessed what I saw against Bournemouth. I witnessed what I saw against Villa. I witnessed what I saw against Chelsea yesterday. We beat Burnley when I went to watch Burnley, and that was the first game of the season. But the football, the identity, whatever it is that we're trying to do, it just doesn't work at home. So I was in what stand was I in yesterday? I was in the East stand yesterday, and sort of watching it side on because I wasn't watching it right down the pitch, watching it side on, and all I could see was, and this has got to come from, this has to come from Frank and the coaches, right? The football that we play, we get the ball in midfield, and we play the ball backwards. Yeah, we play the ball backwards. So we get the ball in midfield, and instead of going forward with the ball, we play the ball backward. We're not progressive. We keep playing the ball backwards all the time. Xavi Simons, right? Watching him yesterday, I've got no doubt that the boy probably has got. It's probably is a good footballer, and it's too early to judge. But he reminds me of a bit like Wirtz. There's a lot of money being paid for these players that we've bought out of German leagues. And Xavi Simons is lightweight. He's so lightweight, and if he could drop a shoulder, right? If he could drop a shoulder and move, right, or throw a feint or something, he could probably get past the player. But if you're asking him to get past the player off a foot start, he can't. He's so weak in going forward. For me, the player that if I'm going to give props to a player, right, it's going to have to be Vicario. Vicario made some great saves yesterday. I thought Moani put a shift in. Moani was trying. Jed Spence yesterday, Neto got past him a few times. Jed Spence doesn't offer us the outlet on the left-hand side. Defensively, he does his defensive duties, but he doesn't offer us an outlet. The playing the ball at the back, we got ourselves in so much trouble because we're not progressing the ball at the pitch. I believe, and this is my belief from what I saw at the game, Chelsea did not have to get out of any gear whatsoever in order to beat us. I don't think Chelsea beat us. We beat ourselves, if that makes any sense. And then when we made the substitutions, including the concussion substitution. I couldn't understand. I couldn't understand what he was doing when he made the substitutions. Um, I mean, he made them early enough. He made the last of his substitutions with 20 minutes to go, so he's made these substitutions early enough. But I couldn't understand what we were doing when we made the substitutions. Um, Yesterday, I mean, we talked about this in many shows that we've said that, you know, we look lopsided because we keep going all the time down to Kudos, but Kudos is always double and triple banked. Well, I'll be honest with you, there was no double and triple banking of Kudos yesterday. Kudos was always, and Chelsea always had, just Cucurella on him. They didn't send anyone else to help out with Kudos. It was just Cucurella. That was it. Only Cucurella. And Cucurella absolutely done a number on him. And then down the other side, Malo Gusto had a field day. The two centre halves, Moani had a ruck. He had a fight with the two centre halves because the two centre halves were really manhandling Moani. Really manhandling Moani. But for me, you know, Enzo Fernandez. For me, Enzo Fernandez was going and walking around the pitch wherever he wanted to go, and he wasn't being man marked. So he was finding himself in so much space. But Chelsea never found him with the ball. But had Chelsea found him with the ball, we would have been in even more trouble. Chelsea did press well, but it's because we were slow, lethargic, lethargy all over the pitch. To me, I was just completely lost. I walked out that stadium. I'm going to be brutally honest. I'm going to tell everyone the truth. I walked out in the 80th minute. I walked out in the 80th minute because I just thought to myself, we're not going to get nowhere. We're not going to get an equaliser. This is shit and shocking. And I thought to myself, there's going to be such a queue to get to the stations. And I wasn't sure what my trains were because I've had engineering works on the line. I walked out in the 80th minute, and it took about 10 minutes to walk out the stadium from where I was because I was in the 5th tier, right at the top. So yeah, I walked out and I left and I went home, and I didn't switch football on when I went home. I got my headphones on and I just listened to music going walking to the station. But what I haven't done, sorry, I've just ranted and gone on, but he's not said hello to people. Sorry. Good morning, Chris. I hope you're well, sir. And he says good evening to you, Chang. Ronnie says, hello, Jose, Mr. Chang. That was worse than anything under Ange. Good morning, Lee. It's been a minute. Not seen you in a while. Says hello, everyone. Good morning, Lee. Nita is here. Good morning, Nita. She says, good morning, Jose and Chang. Hope you're both well. Woke up this morning. My screw face has gone after our pants performance last night. And then Nita says, hi, chat. We are still here, not behind the settee. Nita also says, the whole team was poor. Ain't digging out any one player. And you've got Ronnie says, for me, I'm starting to question Frank. Ooh. Nita says, Jose, my daughter called me to ask me if I'm okay. My answer was no, we lost. She said, okay, speak to you tomorrow, Mum. Love you. Good morning, Dan. It's been a minute as well. How are you, sir? I hope you're well. Says counter-attack direct is how we played best 9 out of 10. Yeah. Glug Pickwall says Simmons is just like Hill. Yesterday's showing, I can't disagree with that. Ronnie says, looks like VDV and Spence agree with me about Frank. Yeah, have you saw? Did you see the clip about that on when they come off pitch?
I've seen stills. I've not been able to watch any clips by anyone who was recording at the final whistle. But
I saw Chan. It's all over. It's all over X.
So, and I haven't even turned on X yet. Ever since last weekend, since we won away against Everton, I don't even know what the final scoreline is that we lost to Newcastle in midweek. All I know was I think Kinski didn't cover himself in any sort of glory against Newcastle. And as far as what you mentioned earlier, Van der Ven and Jet Spence blanking Thomas Frank, I saw a still on that. I even saw a thumbnail of Alistair goal from Football London asking Thomas Frank that very same question. Why did Mickey Van der Ven and Jet Spence blank him at full time? But I've not even turned on the interview to see Thomas Frank's reaction. But that in itself, our centre back, our goal scoring centre back hero, that is Van der Ven, who scored those two magnificent headers off those two corners in the 3-0 win against Everton. Well, for him to blank Thomas Frank, and I believe he was also the captain. I believe he was the captain early this morning against Chelsea. For him to do that, I think speaks volumes. Maybe there is something wrong somewhere. I honestly don't think that Thomas Frank has lost the dressing room just yet. Although Jet Spence and Van der Ven's reactions may be a lot to do with the overabundance of defending they've had to do on a day just to keep the score at a respectable 1-0, which is the same scoreline that we lost to Bournemouth, which I'm not going to even question. I'm going to ask the question which was the worst of the two games, but that in itself is a big question mark over Thomas Frank's handling of the of the tactics, the lineup, even the squad rotations. Because I was just able to see and make some comparisons between the midweek squad and the squad that we fielded early this morning. The only notable difference was Kinski and Vicario. I'm sure there were a few other players who dropped and subbed, but this is something that he has to address fairly soon. Otherwise, it's going to be very similar to Big Ange at Nottingham Forest. And I really do hope for our sake and also for Thomas Frank's sake that something does give this coming midweek against Copenhagen in the Champions League. So hopefully Thomas Frank will be able to sort that out himself, as I was able to quickly identify and make out Romero's name on the bench. So it's good to see him back on the bench. Whether or not he got any minutes yesterday, I'm not sure, because I haven't seen even a single second of this morning's highlights. So lots to work on, but thankfully we still are in the top half of the league table. That is before tonight's Sunday's matches take place, and I really hope that we do turn it around in midweek against Copenhagen before our league home encounter against United next Saturday, which will be an early kickoff. I think it's noon. I'm planning to watch it with my eldest daughter sitting right in front of me. It's going to be a prize for her for getting top in the form, which I'm absolutely over the moon for. So absolutely looking forward to that. And without further ado, back to you, Jose.
Looks like the genes have been passed on to your daughter then, Chang. Here we go. We've got Shemtaz says, morning, Mr. Bossman, Jose, and the youngest looking old man, Mr. Timmy Changa. Chang, I hope you're both well today after the absolutely shocking performance. How did we have 48 possession? I'll tell you how we had that in a minute, Shemtan. We couldn't string two passes together, Shemtan says. Graham says to Ronnie, I wouldn't be too quick to defend VDV and Spence. They were at fault for one of the goals. Good evening to you, Tigara. Says, g'day, lads. Poor result yesterday, but we will rebound. Hope you're both well. Come on, you Spurs. I hope you're well, mate. Nita says Chelsea was the team with the youngest last season and finished fourth. They came with a game plan yesterday. One on the chin we have to take. Caleb, good morning to you, sir. Says Richarlison's horrible, needs to get removed. Young James is here. Says big up Jose and Chang. And then Caleb says already for next week, I'm going to call it, and Mbeumo will score against Spurs. Shemtam, right? I think you commented on one of my shorts yesterday, Shemtam, and I'm not sure whether it's the one where the fans were singing and the stadium was rocking, but it fell flat straight after that. It became the coffin bowl. There was just no singing. There was no atmosphere. There was nothing at all. You would have thought there would be. We're playing against, one of the teams that we not only are a London derby and a rival, but one of the teams that we probably detest the most, with or after Arsenal, depending on your persuasion. And there was just nothing there. But the reason why we had 48% possession, Shemtam, is because we get the ball and we pass backwards and we pass along the back and then we go back to the goalkeeper. And then the goalkeeper goes back to the defender. The defender will go into midfield and then the midfielder will pass it back to the defender and we go back to the goalkeeper. And we just start again. We just don't have. Yesterday, as I said, if we were going to use Mohamed Kudus yesterday, and we did use him at times, Kudus was only marked by Cucurella. Every other team I've seen play against Tottenham this season at the stadium have double banked, triple banked Kudus. Yesterday, Cucurella. That was it. They didn't need any more. Cucurella just marked. It's as if Cucurella said to the rest of the team, "Don't worry about it. You go about your jobs. I can handle Kudus on my own." And Cucurella actually did. James says we couldn't pass a parcel yesterday. True, we couldn't, but you know, it was like having 10 Vinnie Samways in the team. At the end of the day, Pete, I can understand fans. This is not reactionary. Fans watch the games and they'll react. So already, normally this show has a format that we talk about the whole of the last week, but we haven't talked about the whole of last week. So we've not discussed Everton today or Newcastle. And that's because they are so way out of the memory now, because the only thing that will stick in someone's mind will be yesterday's game. It won't be what happened last Sunday against Everton. It won't be the performance against Newcastle. It's going to be the abject performance that happened yesterday. And it's not being reactionary. We're just talking about exactly what we saw yesterday. Now, good morning, Tim Man says, I've never seen a team that gives the ball away so much. Thomas Frank, at the end of his interview yesterday, and look, Frank's got an hard job to do because he has to face the media, right? And he has to do the post-match press conference, and it's going to be asked salty questions, and he was asked salty questions yesterday, and he's going to have to be an answers. But he turned around and said that he's never ever been involved in a match with a team that has created so little in a match, and at the end of the day, I'm just like, you've got a coaching team, you've got a manager, you've got a coaching team, right? And a lot of it will probably come down to players that you've got in your side as well. So it just shows that our squad, with the injuries that we've got, and yes, I'm going to say injuries because we have got injuries, the players that we don't have available means that we only have a selection of players that we can pick from. And them selection of players that we can pick from are probably just not good enough. At the end of the day, because Frank and his team have been coaching this team. Everybody said that Frank and his coaches will make the players better, but can you make a diamond out of a stone? I'm not sure. People could say, can you polish a shit? I'm not sure you can. At the end of the day, all these coaches that we've got, all these iPads that they use, all this data-driven stuff that they use, at the end of the day, it hasn't improved our football in the sense of we don't progress the ball. The front three is a problem. And yesterday we had Kudus and Moani up there, and even with two of them, that's 2 out of 4. I won't even say front three. I said the front 4. That's 2 out of 4 that we had. But whatever permutations we're sticking in there at the moment, it's just not working. We're just not good enough. Your home form should be rock solid, Chang. Do you not agree? Your home form should be rock solid, and where you can probably get in different performances would probably be away from home, and that should be the norm for everybody, really. But for us, it's not. For us, we're role reversal. The problem is at home for us, but away we seem to be getting the results. I watched. Yeah, Caleb says we need to look in why doesn't Johnson start for us? He was amazing last season. Caleb, I watched Johnson yesterday, and honestly, I don't know what he offers playing out wide. They made a substitution, brought him on, played him out wide, and he was awful again. Now, the whole team was awful, so I'm not just saying Johnson, but I mean, at the end of the day, why not? If you're gonna, if Moani, I thought if you're gonna play Moani, let's say if you play Moani on the left, right? Because you haven't got anyone to play on the left, and you play Kudus on the right. Someone in the 10 role, or in the 10 role, whether it be Simmons, Saab, Bovo, whoever we've got to play there. If Solanke is out still, why don't we try playing Johnson down the middle? I mean, you know, at the end of the day, we've got to do something different because, you know, at home this is just not working. At home it's just not working. I saw in one of the groups, I saw Graham, because Graham's here, and Graham's normally one of the most positive people, you know, that I know around the scene and on all the channels. Graham's always positive. Win, lose, draw, Graham's always positive. And I saw a comment that Graham had put in one of the comments, and I thought to myself, okay, even Graham's not positive this morning about it all. So, you know, at the end of the day, alarm bells have got to be there. We've got, I mean, another channel, or it was on the radio or something I heard, was he's got coaches with all these iPads. They've got all the electronic gizmos, all the coaches, the managers, they've got all these electronic gizmos. Yet, if you can see things going wrong in that, you know, you don't need a gadget or a gizmo to tell me. My eyes will tell me that it's not going right. But they've got all the gadgets and the gizmos. Why don't they just change things up? You know, and is it because we've got lack of players to change things up with? I mean, if you look at the defence yesterday, yeah, Romero did come on in the second half, Chang, right? Although towards the end of the game, I don't know what it was like in the last 10 minutes, but up until for 5 minutes before I left, he seemed to be an auxiliary striker. He seemed to have just gone up front, said, right, I'm running up with this, I'm just going up to the top. At the end of the day, I don't know. I don't know what the answer is, but, you know, I can understand why fans were losing their plot yesterday. I could hear it in the stadium. You could hear the supporters, and every time we got the ball, right? No is the shout that you heard because we kept going backwards. We kept going backwards with the ball. We were not progressing the ball. Everyone can see it. You've got 61,000 people in the stadium and the hundreds of thousands or millions of people that worldwide that watched it on some sort of TV screen yesterday. Everybody could see we just don't progress the football. We just play football backwards. And, you know, at the end of the day, you cannot sustain playing football like that. Yeah, we've been made stronger defensively, but are we stronger defensively because we just play the ball around the back all the time? Because going forward, we're just not strong. And it's weird because he scored lots of goals this season. So, you know, the reality and the truth has got to be somewhere in between both. I'm going to Man United next week, and I'm just like, you know, again at the end of the day, okay, it's because I've bought my tickets up front. It's another 3-figure sum for my ticket for Man United next week that I've paid, and it will be another whatever money it is to get up to the ground because I live so far away. Then it will be something to eat and drink whilst I'm up there, and I'm just like. Where I used to go to football matches when we were at White Hart Lane, win, lose or draw, I used to go to football matches. I used to look forward to it. Do you know what? I'm paying all this money and I'm just not. It's not about the money, I suppose, but it is a lot of money you're paying out. But I'm just like, am I looking forward to the game or not? So, sorry, Chen, you wanted to come in?
Yeah, no, I just had to ask you something very quickly, Jose. I wanted to ask you this earlier when you mentioned of your commute from the stadium back home in the wee hours of this morning. What is the average travel time for you to get back from a match, from the moment you leave the stadium before you get into the station and by the time you get back home?
4 hours.
4 hours. Wow.
20-minute walk to the stadium. Then you've got to get to I get a train into central London, and when I get into central London, I get another train that takes me out to the coast, and then comes back along itself along the coast. And if there's no cabs at the station because it was late at night and it's a really small place I live at, there's hardly ever any cabs there. And if there's not a cab, there's a 40-minute walk when I get back to my station. yeah,
40-minute walk. That's almost an
yeah,
entire half. That's almost an entire half of football you've got to do walking. What is the
yeah.
last stop, if you don't mind me asking, Jose, if it's not too private and confidential to mention on the show, the last stop, the last station?
Well, where I live, Bexhill.
Yeah. Wow. Okay, that
Yeah.
explains that. Okay. All right.
But they've had,
Okay.
but they've had engineering works as well for the whole month. So yeah, it's madness. It's madness. So yeah,
Wow.
it takes me ages to get to the game and to get back. So um, right. So look. So good morning to Lord Rodney. It's been a while, sir. I hope you're well. Says looked like a bunch of slugs out there yesterday. Everyone to a man got pressed for 90 minutes. No excuses for not running hard enough. True. Nita says, I'm taking Scarlett. He never gets time in the senior team, so no one knows how he may perform. We don't develop players. That's a big problem also. Lord Rodney says, the they were passing backwards because they were being pressed. They were being pressed because they were being outworked. Vicious cycle. Lord Rodney, we played against Burnley and we played the same way and we beat them 3-0. And we played the same way at home against Burnley. We played the same way at home in the game that I went to Bournemouth. We played the same game same way against Aston Villa. Played the same way again yesterday. It's just something that we're doing at home. We're just doing it. We just don't understand it. Caleb says, "Did you see how many corners we had yesterday? Those opportunities need to be converted. Like we had like 8 to Chelsea's 1." To Caleb, I was watching the warm ups. I even took a video, a short of the warm ups that they were doing on corners. Um, and I felt a bit weird because Kinksky did the goalkeeping when they were doing the routines, and Vicario was nowhere to be seen. And I thought, oh my god, a bit like Villa, where I noticed when they were doing the defensive drills that Danso was there instead of Romero, but Romero had been named in the lineup, so I thought to myself, that's weird. And then Romero was taken out of the lineup. I thought Vicario was being taken out because I saw Kinksky doing it, but he came out and played, and good well done for that. Lord Rodney says. For me, there's no excuse for not running hard enough. They earn millions of pounds a year, and to be honest, expect it from any player, from any club, and any professional standard. Just very disappointed. Our fans misdirecting their anger once again. We've had Mourinho, Conte, Stellini, Mason, Nuno, and now Frank, and we've seen the same shit from our players being outworked. It's a culture at the club. Go on.
Yeah, very quickly. That was actually the comment which I was looking for to bring up that once post-match rant that Antonio Conte had in in the away defeat against Wolves shortly before he was given a boot. Antonio Conte.
23rd of March, that game against Southampton. Yeah, it was when he did his rant.
That rant there rings ever so true now, as it did before. Regardless if Kane is still around, regardless if Son is still around, regardless if Hugo or anyone else from that regime under Conte was still around, there is something of a sort of I wouldn't. It's not even laid back. It is a sort of a comfort zone, if it makes any sense to you, a comfort zone in which these players sort of just they sort of play just enough to earn a wage, to earn a living wage, but they are not willing to push past that comfort zone to have to have a sort of winner's mentality that all these top clubs, the ones that regularly win silverware, do. And right now, I think we are at that level where we either break this mentality once and for all, or it's just going to stagnate. It's just going to stagnate, and we will never ever get past it. And that's all I have to say on this matter. Back to you, Jose.
Yeah, so Rodney says when we finally stop blaming managers, direct our eye at the real clowns, the players that those that sign them. It's laziness, Chang. Let's call it what it is. They are fucking lazy. Um, yeah, there might be a bit of that, but also as well, it's to me it comes down to the coaching as well, and the manager and the coaching because are the players being lazy? Could possibly be true, or are they playing to the system that they're told to play? You know, are they being told to play this way? You know, yeah, but are progressing up the pitch. We need to do it in patterns, in lanes. This is look. I will go back to what I've said for a long held belief, and you know, I'm not trying to teach or educate anyone here at all, but I keep talking about, you know, if we go 20, 30 years ago, right, when football was football, you know, you had mavericks in teams, but now everybody plays the same way. Everybody plays the same football. It's the passing lanes, it's where to be. So you're being told where to be to pick up the ball and how to pass it and who to pass it to and what side of the boot you got to pass it through, whether you're playing outside and instep, you know, they're being told how to pass the ball, where to stand to receive it. It seems to be that everybody's doing this. Everybody's playing this type of football, and you don't have the mavericks in teams anymore. You know, I mean, I'm going to talk about Chelsea. Watching Chelsea yesterday, right? So I watched Chelsea yesterday, and right when Pedro Neto played at Wolves, right, and I'm going to say when Garnacho played at Man United, right? What you saw, and is that when they get the ball, they take on their player, right? They went at their player all the time. Yesterday, Pedro Neto, there's a lot of times that Pedro Neto got the ball, and Pedro Neto will pass the ball back. So as if they're being told to do that, pass the ball back. Garnacho was doing the same. Where I'm used to seeing Garnacho try to get past the player, um, more often than not, he did get past, but more often than not, he was playing the ball back, and so was Neto. And it's exactly what I see all wing players do. I don't see wing players play wing play anymore. They're just doing it all, you know. Everyone plays the same way, plays the football the same way, and it doesn't matter who it is. Sorry, just breaking news away from Tottenham. Sky Sports was just put out that Victor Pereira has been sacked at Wolves. So Victor Pereira is another league manager, Premier League manager, who's just lost his job at Wolves. Um, wow, wow! He's just lost his job at Wolves. So yeah, at the end of the day, um, yeah, football is just absolutely mad. You know, everyone plays the same way. It's all the samey stuff. You don't get any different type of football. Everything's same. I would like to go back to, if you're going to play a 4-2-3-1. I'd like to see the two wide players play wide. You know, play wide, and the one who's playing. So if Kudos is attacking, then whoever's playing on the left, you want them to be able to get into the box and make the extra striker, or be at the end of something at the back post. But you want players to take it on. And if you take players on, then you can get crosses in. But to get crosses in, you need to have players in the box. So it's just football is so shit nowadays. Simple as. Nita says, with all the high tech in football now, our coaching staff needs to be questioned. There's the Ronnie. Ronnie says, what was the Sat Pereira? Yeah, that's just come up on my phone. Stephen Cartwright says, how did this culture come about? I believe it comes from the top. You know, at the end of the day, it's not being reactionary. I agree with everybody's comments. You know, it doesn't matter what you're saying. I have to agree because, you know, can only react to yesterday's game. But it's not just reacting to yesterday's game. We played like this. In our home form has been like this all season. Win, lose or draw. The football that we're playing is numbing. It's numbing. There's no magical formula. My truth is, if you outwork your opponent, you win more often than not, says Lord Rodney. Chelsea worked their asses off. You have to give them credit. Lord Rodney, I'm going to say, I don't know if he's here at the start of the show, but I was at the game yesterday. Chelsea didn't have to work hard. We played into their hands. We made ourselves look bad. Chelsea did some pressing, but we made ourselves look bad. We were awful. Harry Kane is not an extra star. He worked his effing nutsack off to be the player he is today. Hard work, dedication, repetition. That's it. And Nita says, Wolves have got problems then. Ouch. Just a step aside because it's, you know, it's a show to be blunt, I think. Just a step aside, just for anybody that plays and anyone that's interested. At yesterday, right? Chang, I saw on YouTube that Kate has put up a picture of your predictions that you guys did. And in the predictions yesterday, I'm gonna give a little bit of a teaser away because I may not stay there, but I had a green for the first 4 games. I correctly predicted the first 4 games that were played yesterday. So I had 4 greens after the first 4 games yesterday. Mr. Blackshaw's here says, "Morning, Jose and Chang. Hope you're both well." Yes, Colin, we are well. Others aren't. And here comes James saying that Wolves manager's been sacked. Yeah, it'd be nice to see what Ryan G's got to say now that Wolves have sacked Pereira. I mean, I look at Wolves, I look at Pereira, I looked at where they were yesterday. They've got 2 points so far. But with Wolves, I'm looking at is it Pereira or is it the players that they've got? So it will be interesting. For me, Chang said something earlier about we're third in the league before games are being played today and all that. Do you know what? For the first time, I think ever, I don't care where we are in the league. I don't care whether we sit third or we sit 17th. What you need to do is you need to fix the problems that you've got. And the problems that we've got is with the teams and the players. You've got to get the players to play differently. You've got to get the players to put a shift in. And if you get this all right, then if you're looking at league positions, then you'll probably progress in the league because you start getting positive results. But we need to address this. This has to be addressed. I mean, forget we play Copenhagen. European football's totally different. We play against Copenhagen. If you get a win against Copenhagen, will people end up forgetting everything that's happened? Because we've then got Man United. We've got Man United next week, and I don't know whether I could sit there and go through another performance and sit in the soulless coffin bowl where nobody, if there could be 61,000 of me, you wouldn't have a problem at the stadium. You wouldn't have a problem because singing your heart out, you'd be jumping off the rafters. You're happy to be there. You want to see your team win. You sing off and you sing off the rooftops. So if there's 61,000 of me, then we'd be all right. But there isn't 61,000 of me. So, at the end of the day, we just need to address this and it has to be addressed. Something has to change, in order to address our our home form. And I don't think, get your whatever result you get against Copenhagen, the Premiership is going to be a different beast. And at the end of the day, I don't want to be walking out after Man United and thinking to myself, "Oh my God, I've let myself in for this again." So anyway, we'll wait and see. Lord Rodney is still on it. Says there's nothing that beats hard work, not even natural talent. The best example is Quaresma and Ronaldo. One worked his bollocks off to get to be a generational talent, and one didn't. One was ready-made natural talent that refuses to work hard, and the other took every measure to become a generational talent. Nita says Man United are on a lucky roll. Yeah, they got luck. They got their 2-2 draw yesterday. So Chang, what are you? Anything you're looking forward to for the rest of the what? So, what are you looking forward to? Is there anything? What would you change? I mean, Copenhagen. Does Copenhagen mean much to you, or
It does.
it does? Okay,
It
go on.
honestly does, Jose. I mean, right now our home league form isn't where it needs to be, and since we're already out of the League Cup, I think it's imperative really that we avoid defeat in the Champions League in this group phase, if at all possible, just so we can survive this next few days before United next Sunday at noon. And for me, this might be the one time where I actually do take time off my work the following morning, the Thursday morning, in order to watch this early Thursday morning midweek game. And I will be following the pre-match pump up over on We Are Tottenham TV very closely. I will be looking forward to see what kind of lineups Thomas Frank puts out, because having to constantly rely on Palhinha and Bentancur as our two central midfielders, I think might not be the best way forward. Yes, it worked against Everton. No, it didn't work so well for us early this morning against Chelsea. So what he puts out in midfield, the two center midfield pairings, the number 6 and the number 8, I think that would be very, very crucial as we build up for next Saturday at home against United. And more than anything, I just want us to avoid having to, go through the motions again at home against Chelsea. I know Champions League is a different kettle of fish altogether, and it's not, your domestic league, but it still is at home, and it is going to be a midweek game, a late Wednesday night midweek game too at that. So let's just hope the lads are up for it, because yeah, I think the fans' patience on Thomas Frank is wearing thin, and if something doesn't give well, we've already seen two casualties in the Wolves manager and also Big Ange. I really do hope for our sake that Thomas Frank won't be the next in line. Having said that, I still expect us to come out winners against Copenhagen, but don't be surprised if we just park the bus and play it safe to avoid another defeat on the trot. I really, really do hope, Jose. You have no idea how much I do wish that we had the Liverpool fans, the patience of the Liverpool fans. Because if I remember it correctly, before last night, how many matches was it that they lost consecutively in all competitions? If that was Thomas Frank, I think he wouldn't be available for midweek. So let's just hope that Thomas Frank turns it around, because let's put it this way: the Spurs fans are not noted for being too forgiving and patient when it comes to consecutive defeats. Be it domestically or away in Europe. So yeah, I just want us to avoid defeat if at all possible against Copenhagen, and we'll take it one match at a time. We'll see what happens next Saturday, and hopefully when we do reconvene a week from now, next Sunday, we will have something more positive to be discussing, and you would be you will look more refreshed from your night out the night before. Having said that, back to you, Senor Garcia.
The thing, do you know what? I'm thinking about it now because I'm obviously really pissed off with yesterday. I really am. But I'm thinking about it. I'm thinking to myself, it was unfortunate what happened to Lucas Bergvall, because it happened so early in the game that I didn't. When when they announced the lineup, I couldn't work out how they were going to play, because you had Kudus out, obviously going to be out on the right. Moani was up front, but I didn't know. My dogs. I didn't know, without having a left winger or someone to play out on the left, I didn't know how Tottenham were going to set up, because it's obvious where Paulinho and Bentancur are going to be, but then it was like who's going to play out on the left, or how will we set up with both Bergvall and Sarr playing? But because he got injured so early, it actually I didn't get to see I didn't get to see how they were actually going to play, because it happened so early in the game. So it would have been interesting, because that's something different. He picked a team where there's no Shimmons, no Odebert, no Tell. There was no Richarlison. So for me, it just would have been interesting, but it didn't materialise that way because we lost Bergvall so early on. Did that affect the pattern of the game? I'm not sure whether it did affect the pattern of the game, because Simmons came on to replace Bergvall, and Thomas Frank in his interview said that Simmons knew the game plan, so that's why Simmons is a substitution that he made. So yeah, it would have been interesting if the game had played out with Bergvall, because I wanted to see what he would have done with Bergvall and Sarr. Would we have played? Who would have played on the left? Or would they have interchanged? It's something I was looking to see, because I was kind of like a bit miffed when I saw it. But I suppose you've got to change it up. You've got to do something differently. Cannot continue playing the way, not playing the way we are. Cannot continue playing not the way that we're playing at the moment. Ronnie said he thinks it might be another loss at United. I'm afraid. I hope not, Ronnie, because I'd be well. If I'm cheesed off now, I'd be even more cheesed off. And normally, I mean, I am still cheesed off, but I'm not as. I was cheesed off yesterday as well. I can't take away. I was cheesed off yesterday as well. But as you get older, these you become numb to them, right? But I wasn't numb yesterday. I'm not numb today. So I don't know whether I'm getting my feelings back. Am I becoming a human again instead of being an android that I've been for years? I seem to be becoming human again because I've got feelings for when we lose. Ronnie says, if we get a win on Tuesday, like 1-0 or 2-0, it will be boring. Caleb's agreeing with whatever you said, Chang, earlier. And they were a bunch of slugs, Rodney and his slugs. Ronnie says, after United international break comes, but back to Arsenal way. Oh, dear. Caleb says, when does the Premier League kick off today? At 2 p.m. I think there may only be 2 matches today in the Premiership. Yeah, there's 2 matches. So West Ham Newcastle must be 2 o'clock. Man City Bournemouth must be 4:30. And Sunderland Everton is tomorrow at 8 p.m. in the evening. Lord Rodney says, let's say we signed Amora, Stiller, and Mateta. We will still need to outwork teams to win games. You're not going to outpass and out-tactic everyone. Good. I think it might be afternoon for you now, Dermot. I think you're an hour and ahead there, aren't you? Good afternoon to you, Dermot. Says, I was embarrassed and angry after last night's performance. Here, Dermot. I think we all were. I think we all were, mate. It's just it was soulless, Dermot. I mean, if you don't know how much of the show you've heard, it was absolutely soulless. I was back at the coffin bowl. At the start of the game, I did a short from the crowd who was singing off the top of their voices, and there was a lot of singing from about 5 to 3 till 3 o'clock. There was loads of singing. The stadium was actually rocking, in fact, from 5 to 3 till 3 o'clock. Once 3 o'clock came, Dermot, there was nothing. All I could hear was Chelsea singing. And this is even before they went 1-0 up. All I heard was Chelsea singing. It's absolutely soulless, the stadium. It's a coffin bowl. And I was looking and expecting better things. For 5 minutes, when I saw everyone up in arms and singing, I thought, oh, here we go. Something's changed. And then now we reverted back to type. And so did the players. Yeah, I don't. Rodney keeps saying that people were lazy. Well, if people are lazy, you need to change the players up. But I just don't feel that we've got enough players to change the team up. Because if you make your team weaker in the sense of attributes and skill wise, but your team run more, then are you going to get better performances? I don't know. It's a conundrum that he gets paid the bucks to figure out. We will get better, by the way. Why does Johnson not start for us? Caleb, like I said, I said it earlier. I'm not sure whether you heard me, mate, but I did say earlier that for me, I don't think we would. I think we would do well if we're going to play Kudos, and you play someone out on the left. Let's say you played Moani out there on the left. You played someone in the hole, and play Johnson up front. Instead of using Richarlison while Solanke's out, I can't understand why. Well, can't do no worse than giving Johnson a tryout up front. It's where he's played for his country. It's where he played with Forest in the 10, or he played the side striker. I can't understand. I can't understand how we would how we can't just try him out. You got to change it. You got to do something different. Caleb is what I say. Dermot says, I'm not Frank out yet, but after last night, I'm closer to it than I was. Something has to change. That is, what that is, I don't know, but it's all on the Lewis family now. Yeah. Shentam says, I see Frank and his coaches consistently looking at monitors and using tactic balls and his magical magnets, but absolutely no change in tactics. And this is what I was saying yesterday, Shem, when I was watching the game when I was at the stadium. I thought to myself, if you can't see what 61,000 people can see, then there's got to be an issue. We can all see this. And as I said, And I keep repeating, every time we got the ball, everybody in the stadium was shouting no, because instead of going forwards, they were going backwards with the ball all the time. And everyone in the stadium was screaming it out. No, no, can't you pass the ball forwards? And as I said, Shammy Simmons, if he can't throw a trick, can't throw a shoulder, and that he doesn't get past the player, he's just weak. He just doesn't get past the player at all. Of course, we would, Jose, take any sport, those that work hard and wing things. Yeah, quite possibly, Rodney. Like I said, if you take out skill sets and you put lesser skill sets in, would the work rate outperform the skill set? It's one of them ones that he's got to choose, because if that's the case, then you would look at your Oderberts, you'd look at your Tells, you'd look at whatever the bench was yesterday, and we used a fair few of these people yesterday. But you'd look at them and you would think, right, let me have a look. Let me have a look. So what players didn't get a chance yesterday? Because some players did. So Spurs Chelsea, I haven't even looked at the stats. 48%. We had 3 total shots, only 1 on target. Chelsea had 15 shots and 9 on target. And I said yesterday when I saw this, I didn't think even Chelsea had to try hard enough. So you've got, well, yesterday we used a fair few substitutes because we had the concussion sub as well. So what we're saying is, out of the players that we had yesterday, in the squad yesterday, Matthias Tell and Dane Scarlett didn't play. So are we saying that we should give Dane Scarlett a go up front? Are we saying that we give Matthias Tell a go? That shows you the bench that we had, because everyone played apart from them two. So there's not many other players. I mean, Takai's nowhere near. No one's seen Takai. No one's seen Dragusin. Although Dragusin has an opportunity, they'd say, after the international break. So you're talking about the end of November to see Dragusin back, if they're back in the squads or around the squads. We haven't seen no Takai. Midfielders, we know that we're not going to get Kulusevski back anytime soon at the moment, or Madison. And up front, Solanke's the only person that's missing. Everybody else is, yeah. Shenta says, I agree, Jose. Then the next game comes around and we do exactly the same thing. That's exactly what I said. It's exactly what I said, Shemtam. Every game I've been to Tottenham, I've been to four of our. I've only missed one home game this year so far, and that was the Wolves game. I didn't go to the Wolves game. It's the only game that I've missed. But I've been to every other home game this season, and we've played the same in every home game. Absolutely the same. Even when we beat Burnley 3-0, we played the same way. It was pass back, pass back. It's the same. It doesn't matter who the team is. I suppose you need to build an identity, and most clubs do this. But our identity is pass back, 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 pass back. And at the end of the day, I keep saying 61,000 people in the stadium could see that yesterday. And when someone got the ball, straight away people were saying no, because they knew what they were doing. They knew to pass the ball straight back. It's a thing. I don't think we will be a disaster if we give Scarlett a run out in the seniors. We need something. Rodney says, I've said we give Scarlett a go for 18 months. He's played one game and he scored, and we won the game. Dermot is saying, question to you both, how long before Tottenham sack Frank? I'm not Frank out, but how long will the Lewis family let this go on for? And Lord Rodney said, I'll answer that, and I'll let Chang answer that in a second. A pass forward, you need to be winning runners. The only one that does that is Kudos. Dermot's asking, Chang says, question to you both, how long before Tottenham sack Frank? If not, he's not Frank out, but how long will the Lewis family let this go on?
Wow. I think anything between now and Christmas will be a bit too premature to do anything about this, because I mean, if we do sack Thomas Frank now, who are we going to get? Who would be willing to come so soon after we had just only given the boot to Big Ange, and now Thomas Frank so soon after that? Despite us, still in the top half of the league, still the top half of the table, still very much in Europe, undefeated. We haven't even opened our FA Cup campaign yet, so I think anything now will be very, very reactionary, a bit of a knee jerk. You still also have to understand and take into consideration the injuries that we have. Yes, it's good to see Udogi and Romero come back, but I think they are not the problem, Jose. If I to be perfectly honest, given everything that I've heard in the past hour since the show started, if anything now, I would lay it all down to lack of creativity. I still think that Javi Simons will come good, but will he come good in time to save the season? Will he come good in time to save Thomas Frank's job? Will he even come good in time to make a name for himself in the Premier League? I think only he himself has the answers to those questions. And a lot of us Spurs fans, of course, would be wanting those answers sooner rather than later. Me, I think I would still afford him every ounce of patience any Spurs fan can muster. But for the amount that we paid for him, and even the timing of his signing so close to the end of the transfer window, I think that in itself would set us on edge. Hopefully, I really do hope this will come to pass. But hopefully, both him and Kolo Muani get their first goals for us sooner rather than later. I have been saying this to you, Jose, ever since we did the Monaco pre-match pump up. I said the same thing again when we did the Everton pre-match pump up, and those two matches are over. The Newcastle game is over, even the Chelsea game is over, and yet still we are still waiting for both of them to register their first goals for Spurs. So I think, yeah, patience is going to be running thin. Even some fans will be saying, how much worse can Odo Beer and Matisse Tel be compared to Kolo Muani and Javi Simons? Even they themselves have scored for Spurs this season in the league or in the cup competition. So yeah, something really has to give, Jose, and let's just hope, fingers crossed. As always, the eternal optimistic, fingers crossed. It's this coming midweek against Copenhagen before we even cast our minds to next Saturday against United. Having said that, back to you, Jose.
For me, sorry, Mr. M's here says, morning, lads. Good morning, Mr. M. You must be in a bad mood because you haven't put Wenger's out today. I hope you're well. For me, I don't think Frank gets sacked. I think Frank has been brought in. There's a long-term plan that this family have brought in, and it's there that we need to. They've brought people in who they believe are the right people for the roles, and they're there to do their jobs, and their jobs are to work out, what they need to do in order to take this club forward. And that's what they're being told to do, or that's what they'll be asked to do. You get paid to do a job, do your job, find ways of improving results and of the team playing better, and they will be asked to do that. They will be tasked with that. That's a manager and coach's jobs. The players will be looked at. I don't think that yesterday's result or any other results this season have changed the view of the two Lewis member family and the board. They said that they were going to look at January to make improvements, and I think they will, because if people rest on their laurels and think this is the squad to take us forward, then you're wrong. There has to be changes in this squad, but we've all known that. We were happy to go in with the season with what we had done this summer, but we knew we needed changes. There were other players that we were chasing. So, at the end of the day, we will need to, work on what we've got. We're not that far away, Chan, because today's the 2nd of November, so we're already into November. So therefore, what happens at the end of next month? At the end of the next month, the transfer window opens up again for January. So we're 7 to 8 weeks away from that happening. We will be nearer to that by the time the international break is finished. So by the time the international break is finished, you're probably going to be about 6 weeks, 5 or 6 weeks away from the transfer window opening. we certainly need to bring further players into the club, and maybe see if we can move some players on as well. We need to improve the squad that we've got. But that's all going to take time. It won't going to be done in one window. So you've got an opportunity in January to, if I don't care what people say about availability in that, if you're doing your homework, i.e., Langa and Paratici is the people that we've got now. If they're doing their due diligence on players already, and they're already doing their jobs that they've been assigned to do, then they should be already be looking at the market and already making moves for players that they might be able to attract in January. The one thing we've got is last year we had lots of injuries. We have got lots of injuries this year again, and some of the players, it can't be just because we were playing handball, because players are injured again this year, and in that case, if I would say that availability is the most important thing, and if your players are injured all the time, then maybe you need to bring players in that are less susceptible to injuries. And for that we need to look at our squad that we've got. I think that there's a whole raft of things that are going on. They've invested a lot. They've changed things around the club and invested a lot of time and effort to try and get this right. Now, sometimes people are going to say you don't get it right first time, but they've tried a hell of a lot to try and make things right at this club and to make it progressive going forward in the sense of how clubs operate. And that will be all departments. So for me, I think they would stick with Thomas Frank. And I don't think they're going to be knee jerk. I think they will stick with Thomas Frank. And as Chang said, unbeaten in the Champions League at the moment as well. With a very good chance, and I'm going to say this now, with a very good chance of qualifying for the last 16, whether it be in the top 8. The Tottenham will be in the top 24 because that's where you need to be, and Tottenham will be in the top 24. You win your game against Copenhagen, and that takes you to 8 points already. Generally, about 10 points gets you into the next phase. But with the amount of people that are not scoring points further down the table, there's a great opportunity for Tottenham to get into the top 24. So, at the end of the day, I don't think there's going to be any knee-jerk reactions to Thomas Frank. I think Frank will be given and afforded the opportunity to work this out because that's what he gets paid to do, him and the coaches. So that's my answer. He's going nowhere at all. But in saying that, I will say that something needs to change. Even this early on, something needs to change because at home we can't be watching the same predictable football that we've watched. If that's our identity, if that's our identity, because we're going to be predictable, if that's our identity, then we're in a lot of trouble. More pain than cure is what we're going to be in for.
So,
Yeah.
yeah, I would just before you go on, I just need to add something very quickly. You did mention the amount of investment that we've put into the club, as well as the departures of Levy, and also the new appointment, that is the official appointment of Paratici now. I think the next big step, rather than look forward to the January transfer window, I would take immediate action right now to do something about that medical department. I mean, for someone like Romero to be pulling up during warm up before a match, to be injured and get himself sidelined for a crucial away tie against Newcastle, I think that in itself, in the long run, would be a big disadvantage to us, and we can ill afford any more such mishaps, be it Vicario in goal, or maybe even a Kevin Danso or Van der Ven. Something has to be done to that medical department sooner rather than later, Jose. And if it has to be addressed, let it be this calendar year 2025. Then wait till next year of 2026 before we actually do something to improve our players' fitness and also via pre-match warm-up preparations. Having said that, Back to you, Jose.
Yeah, I think we're all talked out, to be honest, Chang, for today. It is what it is. There's not much more that we can add to it because nothing's going to get better as we continue to show because of yesterday's performance. But you got Lord Rodney says, I'm not saying he's unsackable, but to sack him this year or next without giving him a bit of ammunition, I just don't see the point in continuing to support this football club. Nita says, our midfield is the weak link. Been saying it for more than three seasons. Up front, we can clearly see the problems. Yeah. But anyway, Chang, we will be back next Sunday. I'm hoping that next Sunday we can talk about Copenhagen and we can talk about Man United. Because, yeah, as I said, today we haven't talked about Everton and we didn't talk about Newcastle. So, you know, you've walked away with your biggest home away victory of the season, and we've not even talked about it because it was all about yesterday, which it is because it's not been reaction. You just got to look. You look at your last game, and you're just like, oh my god. But anyway, I hope everybody has a fantastic remainder to their weekend. Thanks for tuning in today, and yeah, I will see everybody. Tomorrow I've got my results show for the Predictions League, by the way. So, no, sorry, it's on Tuesday. So I'll be back on Tuesday for the results show for the Predictions League, and then I will be with Chang and I. My plan, and the plan after that is to come back on Sunday. Will be Chang and I on Sunday. Then we've got. Sorry, I'm talking crap. Tuesday results for the Prediction League, right, is on Tuesday. The results for the Prediction League is on Tuesday. On Friday, I think we'll be doing the predictions for week 11 for next weekend. Then on the Monday will be on the Sunday it'll be Chang and I again, and on the Monday it'll be the results show. Then after that we'll probably have an international break, and I'll have a big bonus predictions from international break. And on the Saturday or the Saturday of the international break, I will be doing a members show. So I will be doing a members show. Lord Rodney says, big up Ozone Chang and chat. Love you all. Try and stay positive. Back our gaffer and call it out. Nita says, thanks, Jose Chang and chat. Enjoy the rest of the day. Coming Spurs. Lord Rodney says, it's not good enough across the board. There's no scapegoat. Ronnie says, thanks, Mr. Jose, Mr. Chang. Kuva says, big up everyone. I just popped on to see more gentle fan opinion on yesterday. I haven't watched this since the Bournemouth game, and I'm feeling fully justified in my decision. Kuva, yeah, you've not missed much, mate. I've been to all the games this season, bar Wolves, and win, lose or draw, we've played the same in every game. And you know, we have to give it time. But yesterday was not a good look on the team, the players, and the coaches, and the performance. But there we go. Right, people. Enjoy the remainder of your weekend. I'm looking forward to results show for predictions on Tuesday. Kuva, just to let you know, yesterday I had greens for the first 4 games. I got the first 4 games correctly predicted. So I am looking forward. I know that my nearest 2 people, I outscored them. It just depends to see what happens in these last 3 games. But people, thank you very much for tuning in. As I said, I really do wish you a really good Sunday to the people that are still got a Sunday. And I do wish the people that are going into Monday, because there are some that are going into Monday, I wish you a good start of the week as well. Any final words from you, Jang?
I mean, come on, you Spurs. There's no other way on but onwards and upwards. And look on the positive, people. It's not like we've been beaten 5, 6, 7, 8-0. Yes, I know it's not to be expected to be getting an XG of 0.01 or 0.01, however you interpret it. Something has to change, and if it's going to be a change in the system, or even a change in the way we are set up for match days, then so be it. I'm pretty sure that Thomas Frank will ring the changes for midweek against Copenhagen, and I'm absolutely looking forward to seeing some young, fresh blood, give us a much needed injection in terms of positivity, both on and off the pitch. That's what I'm looking forward to. So hopefully, those scenes of Van der Ven and Jet Spence blanking Thomas Frank at the full-time whistle will be the last we'll ever see of such a nature this season. And yeah, bring on Copenhagen. And once that is done, looking forward to next Saturday, the early noon kickoff against United. And when we do reconvene next Sunday at noon, Jose, yeah, I'm really expecting us to be talking more on a jovial. We should be a lot more jovial. And no, I am not kidding, Jose. We have to be always looking on the bright side. And I think the only way forward is onwards and upwards. Having said that, come on, you Spurs. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, everybody. And I look forward to seeing each and every single one of you. Same time next week at noon here on LFL Cocorel. Having said that, thank you very much as always for having me, Jose. And it's straight back to you.
And Cooper says, I think Frank will get things right. I'm just not watching the painful build. Yeah, I agree, Cooper. It's just it's something that needs to be worked at from the whole club. And Ronnie says, Jose, the prediction champ after 25-26 after week 10. I'm not saying I'm going to be the champ, but I've certainly got some good points against the people that are second and third. In Predict the Prem, I've now opened a 37-point lead before today's games, and I'm actually back in positive goal difference as well, because all my predictions the 4 predictions they've got me mad goals for rather than goals against. Anyway, listen everyone, thank you very much again for joining in. Love to see you on the next shows, people. Thank you very much to Chang as well. And yeah, and Chang I know needs to get on. He's got his lovely family beside him, so let's get Chang away with his lovely family. She's hiding. There we go. But anyway, listen everyone, love you all. Take care of yourselves, and as always, come on you Spurs.
Come on you Spurs. See you soon, everybody.
Tell, Cockerel. He's just a true guy. You'll have a true time. Tell, Cockerel. Leave your troubles at the door. You know the game, you know the score. We're here to have fun, so holster that gun and read the writing on the wall. The Predictions League, done every week. It just goes on and 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 on. Why do I always get it wrong? Tell, Cockerel. He's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. Jose gets himself around. Always talking Spurs, wherever he is found, home or away. He always tips to win, throws the form book in the bin with a cheeky knowing grin. Tell, Cockerel. He's just a chill guy. You'll have a chill time. Tell, Cockerel. The Predictions League, done every week. It just goes on and on and on and on. Why do I always get it wrong? Every time I play along. Tell, Cockerel. The show is so chilled, your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. Tell, Why do I always get it wrong? El Tel, Cockerel. The show is so chill. Your time is well filled. If you want good friendly chat, then here's where it's at. El